Thank you everyone for tuning in to another Global from Asia cross-border e-commerce series. We're here with my friend Jerry Gan, CEO and founder of Valuelink. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. I'm excited for today's talk. So, you would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, my name is Jerry Gan. I'm the founder and the CEO of Valuelink. I started a business about 11 years ago from a very strange place in the U.S., which is Albuquerque of New Mexico. So it's very interesting. And then we moved the business back to China in 2008, and then we gradually developed into today's status.
Yeah, which is quite a big status. You're, I think, one of the top sellers on Amazon, and you have a great portfolio of services, Amazon trackers, AMZ tracker, and Vipod, and other great things here in your studio, and we'll do a tour after too. So how did it start in Albuquerque? Actually, I have he's not really an uncle, but he's like a friend, a very close friend of my father. He was from New Mexico.
From there, yeah.
It's a very beautiful place.
Yeah, it's
they have this
the desert and
I think of trains.
The Spanish kind of buildings, and it's very interesting. Yeah, basically it was very long ago. It's really a good story.
Awesome.
I haven't got much experience to share with other people, but I really appreciate that kind of experience. When I was back in school, in college, I went to Peking University studying English literature back in 2000 till 2004 for undergraduate. And I stayed in the school for graduate for linguistic studies.
Awesome.
So I was, because I was looking for part-time jobs, and I found a part-time job being an interpreter for some foreign investors who try to invest in China.
I see.
So I was the interpreter for 3 days.
Wow, that could have been interesting.
Not the investor, sorry. The interpreter for 3 days. So the second day, they were negotiating with the lawyers about how to bring the business public before they even first started the business. So I was very impressed. I didn't think like you could plan for a business to make it public before you even have the business.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting, out of my mind, totally out of the mind for that moment. So I was very interested, and then my friend, the investor, he was my friend now. He's a very good friend of mine still now. His name is Vince. So he asked me during a break. He asked me, why do you want to be an interpreter, and what do you want to do? I told him I want to do what you do. I was an interpreter because I want to make some income for my part-time efforts. So I said, okay, you could come to the US, and I can teach you how to do business.
Nice.
So I prepared my visa and visited Albuquerque and spent 3 months there with him, helping him making development, like a lot of jobs for research and investment research, project management and stuff.
Nice.
So when I was in the US, I said, okay, because he was building a lot of condos. So I said, okay, maybe I can buy these supplies for you from China to save you money, and we can probably also sell those products in the US, because everything was like 6-7 times more expensive back then, the price compared with China. So I was saying, okay, we can start that. So I said, okay, we can do it. So he gave me some, so we started the business. And then gradually, the business did not move on because there was a few partners and they didn't get along very well with different ideas. So the business, basically, the investors stopped investing. So I said, okay, maybe I will move on with the business. So that's how I started business from Albuquerque when I was 24.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've also talked to other Chinese friends. They go to US and they don't. they think it's great and then they don't enjoy it as much, or they miss home, or I remember some friends, they miss the rice or the Chinese food. Or
I did as well, but now I miss Spanish food now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so you were doing it while you were in America, and then what was the I know you were also, I mean, we've talked a few times before this interview, so I know you even say it was challenging as a Chinese in America to buy or to coordinate with suppliers in China.
I found it even challenging for me.
Yeah.
Even after many years, even I have employees. I have 150 people in China, but I spent another 2 years in the West. I spent 2012 till 2014. I was in San Jose of California, and also Berlin of Germany. So when I was in San Jose, I found it like, I found, okay, maybe we could move this product and sell them on Amazon in the US. But with the time zone difference, it's very challenging to collaborate with my employees, even in China, because the time difference and the communication, the inability to communicate face to face. So even you could communicate with Skype, but it's still very difficult. You have to set up an appointment, for example. Otherwise, you have to wait.
Exactly.
So another day is missed. It's very challenging.
Yeah, I felt similar when I was in America trying to source from China. So I just want to highlight that even you as Chinese in America was challenging.
Even you have regular connections. Even you have people you pay them to do a job for you. It's still challenging.
It's true. So was that the tipping point, or what was it that had you come back to China?
So we because we need to source products from China, so we started to build a team from China while we have a small team in the US. Yeah. So naturally, I have connections in China, I have friends in China, so we have them to work for us. So yeah, even though I have been living in the US, so everything costs more in the US back then, particularly.
True.
Yeah.
True. Well, yeah, it's true. China has been getting more expensive in the last few years.
Yeah.
So as you develop the business, I mean, how did you decide as you've grown, how did you decide which opportunities or which products or services to grow into? So
back in 2006 and 2007, we started on eBay. So we have been selling a lot of products on eBay, and like the top selling year, we sell $40 million in 1 year on eBay.
Nice.
So, but as everybody coming onto eBay is getting very competitive, so we decided to move, and then we started. Okay, maybe we should sell our own private label brands on Amazon. So starting from 2013, we started that. Okay. So now most of the business right now on Amazon is private label. We try to build the brand up, so to be more sustainable. So, but I have always been thinking like, what is the next? So because Amazon is trying to open the market to everyone, and I found like there's nothing I could stop Amazon getting more sellers, more vendors to Amazon. So I think maybe we should move on to help those sellers. If we can't stop them, right? There's nothing we can stop. Nobody can stop them because Jeff Bezos wanted it, right?
That's true, yeah.
So we thought, okay, maybe we can help them instead. So because we have a lot of experience, we started selling on Amazon 2008. So we are one of the very early sellers there, so we know what the challenges are. So we started think about that, and then in 2014, early 2015, we raised our first round of $10 million. So we say, okay, so if we need to grow the business, so we might need to innovate. So we have been thinking about maybe we should provide service to Amazon sellers. So we spent time to say, okay, what kind of service we should build. So we say, okay, maybe we should build a platform for marketing for Amazon sellers because we're in China.
Sure.
And one of the very challenging things for Chinese sellers is to market. If we do logistics, then there's a lot of people who can do it. But for marketing, there's much fewer.
It's true.
And who also understands Amazon sellers, because there are a lot of people who knows about marketing, but they have never done Amazon selling. So we thought, okay, maybe we should do that. And then we start researching all the different marketing platforms, and then we found AMZ Tracker, which was which is a very, very amazing tool built by Travis.
Yes.
So I sent an email to one of his team members. Then I got introduced to him, and so we had a talk. And at that time, he was in Bangkok.
Yeah.
So I made an appointment. I visited him. We liked each other. So okay, so we made a deal. And I think a lot of people have some misconception about, like, okay, some Chinese company bought AMZ Tracker, and what is going to happen next. But I think the only thing we have changed is by the speed we have been developing, making changes to the products after the transition. So we have built a much stronger developer team to innovate on the product.
Sure.
So there was major change. The team was totally separate from our selling team. So the only thing we do is we also use the tool as well.
So then it's true. I think, what about bringing together? You have your time in America, your education in the U.S. You're from China. You're a seller. You came back to China, so you really understand the marketing, because it's true. Like, logistics and these services is kind of a commodity.
Yeah.
But marketing and branding is still, even in today's 2017, is still a lot, I think, for most Chinese sellers to learn.
Yeah.
What do you think? So then that was in 2015, right?
Yeah, in 2015, the end of 2015, we made acquisition for AMZ Tracker, and Travis was still consulting for us. Yeah.
So then there's been a lot of growth. I mean, in the Chinese sellers have continued, like you're saying earlier, they're continuing to become sellers on the platform on Amazon. How have you, even in those couple of years, it's changed quite a bit?
Yeah, the landscape has changed a lot. So basically, not just the Chinese sellers, even manufacturers are coming onto the platform. It's challenging for them because it's very difficult you have to invest first. So for factories, they have used to the mentality of, like, certainty. Like, you place an order, you give me a deposit, and then I start manufacturing.
Yeah.
Right. But with Amazon, you have to prepare for your inventory. You have to invest. Even that, some manufacturers are becoming more and more successful on the platform. So it become more challenging, because by the end of the day, what we are actually selling is not marketing. It's a product.
Yeah.
Right. You have to get a good product to the customer's hands. And then even they have the best copywriting, you have the best marketing strategy, but you still have to have a good product.
Yeah, that's true, whether it's software or hardware.
Yeah.
You can market if you're good. There's lots of good internet marketers, but if the product they're delivering is not good, then that's
you're amplifying something good or bad.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I remember we had a discussion about the differences of a product-based business versus a marketing-based business.
Right.
And I think your strategy has been on the product side more than on the marketing side. So
I think we are more on the product side, to be true. So, but on the other side, I think the Western sellers also has something to contribute, or something very strong with the product side, is by defining the product, right? And even the Chinese sellers are close to the factory, or even the factory are selling.
Yeah.
And then, but you need to define the product. Like, what is the product which you are going to be selling? So every specific detail, like how the user interface, how it looks, and that's very important as well.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say that Chinese sellers or Chinese factories are best with the product. There's a lot to combine. There's a lot of strength we need to combine.
It's true, but there's still a big gap, I think, with culture and communication. I know you have many foreigners that work with you,
right?
Or I don't know if foreigners is the right word. Well, or in China.
I find it easier for me to work with foreigners sometimes than work with Chinese people.
Really?
Yeah. Because I got myself into English literature very long ago, so I think I understand the Western culture and philosophy better than some Chinese culture side. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sure. It's true. I mean, it's definitely. I've been here like 10 years now, and it's still.
Yeah.
There's still so much I don't understand about Chinese culture. Yeah. It's very complicated, right? I guess there's so much. There's so much
diversity as well. China is big. Like people from some areas, some regions are different from the other regions.
So what's been happening lately here? I mean, I think your office has been expanding. I think you said your first investment was 10 million. Yeah. Where are we at now? I mean, the business is doing really well.
So we raised some second and third round, 2016 and early 2017, and now we merged with a public company here in China. So what is happening? The latest thing we are planning is, just as you are thinking, we haven't got the exact idea, but I think we made a new tool with AMZ Tracker. Yeah. So AMZ Tracker was a SaaS product. So you have to type into the web browser, log into it, and to track your keywords and do promotions on Vietnam and keyword research and all these features. Those are great. Travis and On, they made a very great product. But one of the things I've been thinking is like, I would log into that, right, all the time, every morning. So we thought, okay, what if, because I work with the team every day, so some people get lazy, they don't want to log into.
Yes.
So but everybody logs to Amazon every single day, right? You check your listing, how good they are ranking. So one of the new launches we have done very good is we developed with Unicorn Smasher. We made a plugin with Chrome. So we made a Google Chrome plugin that you can install. So and you log into. Once you log into the plugin, the extension, and then every time you open Amazon with your own listing, all the data will just show on the product page. So how good your BSI is performing, and what kind of opportunities with keyword you could find, and you could just save from there. So you don't. It's like the tool is following you. Instead, you have to use the tool. The tool is always with you.
Nice.
It's following your experience, your daily use. So that saves you the hassle to log into. You don't have to change your habit. So you use a habit. You just follow that. Okay. So we try to make that product as a next version, a next generation of AMZ Tracker tool. Okay. So it's like the tool work for you instead of you work for the tool.
It's true. It's true. Yes. It's so hard to get users now, or in China everybody's on WeChat only. Like nobody wants to use other apps or other definitely not websites. So it's similar in the internet. You know, people don't want to log into other websites. So it does make sense. And how about on your product, on your seller business? How are you growing this business still? How are you balancing the software side or service side and your product seller side? So
I have a team that's dedicated to the software side. So one of the things I've been thinking, because especially after we merged with the public company, we get almost like unlimited amount of access to capital. Yeah. So we found that we we have limited resources with the team, and then we said, okay, if we keep expanding, then it becomes challenging because the return of investment on the capital is decreasing, would be decreasing. So we are thinking, we haven't got exact idea. We have been thinking maybe we could provide, like help those sellers that are inadequate with capital to help them somehow to grow the business instead of, because by the end of the day, nobody could dominate Amazon.
Yes.
This is not possible because Amazon does not want nobody to dominate. This period, right?
It's true.
So it doesn't matter who you are. So even Amazon itself can't dominate Amazon.
Yeah, they have their own brands too.
The market share is decreasing actually.
Really?
I'm talking to some friends in Amazon. They have been, basically they haven't been growing much since last year. So the share of the pie is becoming less. Like they used to be more than 50% of Amazon selling themselves, but now it's less than 50%.
Okay.
In that case, I'm looking for opportunities to collaborate. Western sellers, Chinese sellers, but I want to work with people with the same, with very similar concept or philosophy. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure people are curious about that. How could sellers work with you guys? I think you have big space here. Is it physical? Is it online? Is it like investment? Is it?
I think it's possible with. So one of the challenges, I think, if we are going to work with Western sellers, I've discussed with some of them as well. So it's one of the challenges if you are not here, right?
Yeah.
If you are not here, if you are in the U.S. or if you are in Thailand, if you are in Bangkok, and then there's the cost of communication is going to be much more than the cost of saving, whether it's people or money or travel expenses, because if you are investing $100,000 of inventory, if you are here, you have 2 more meetings with the supplier, it might save you 5%.
It's true.
Right. And then, but if you are not here, you are Skyping with them, and they naturally think you are not serious.
Yeah.
Right. You don't even want to invest the trip, right?
Yeah.
How they think, because they are investing their opportunity as well. Even they are selling products to you. If they want to offer you the best price, they want to make sure they are investing this opportunity to the best people.
It's true.
Right, because so they want to make sure you are serious as well. So I think we haven't made a product or service, standard product or service, but we think the possible ways of collaboration could be whether maybe we could have an investment, right? Or we could have a joint, like investment or joint venture, or we could have we could help with product, right? We are because every product we have a system how to select and make sure the product quality is good in place. I've been sharing this experience with some Western sellers before, and I found most of Western sellers don't have this in place. That's one of the biggest challenges, like how they fail. Is, for example, you have a very good Bluetooth speaker, for example, and then your first shipment is good.
Yes.
Your second shipment is good, and then the third shipment you get a bug quality problem, and then your listing you get a bunch of returns, and you get a bunch of bad reviews, and then boom, your listing goes nowhere, and then all your investment of PPC, everything, marketing, Facebook marketing money, just wasted, right? So what we developers is a system to make sure we always get the best quality of product and the best price as well. So we have divided the team functions into several departments. So we have a cost department, which is basically disassemble all the parts, and so they will disassemble the parts to find quotation from the suppliers for the parts. For example, the circuit board, and then the chips, and then the plastics, the molding, everything, to calculate, okay, this is the cost of the product, and plus 10-15% of profit. This should be the price. And then our purchase department will use this to negotiate with the supplier. So in that case, we are most likely to get the best price. And then we're also trying to collaborate with the suppliers to say, we're going to give you a forecast. So we're going to use you as the major supplier if we move into this category. So the supplier will be more serious with us. So even though they offer us a lower price, but in the long term, they're still going to make more money because it's more sustainable business, right? We're going to work with them for 5 years.
It's true. Yeah.
Right. So we also have another department which is for like repetitive orders. So we have another team which is to negotiate with repetitive orders. So all the team are separated and they collaborate, but they are independent. So that makes sure nobody could control the pricing for the cost. Yeah. And then we also have a department which works on quality. So we have QC and QE. So the QC team is only responsible for like when the inventory is ready to check. But if you have a shipment and then the supplier sends you a shipment with 10,000 pieces and you check and then 3% does not work. And most of the sellers do is, okay, return it, right? And then they will pick this 3% out and give you the 97%. But this is not going to work because good quality is not ensured by checking, but ensured by good management. So we have another team which is called quality engineering. So what they do is when they introduce the supplier, they have to check the supplier. So do they have the management of quality assurance system? Do they have QC for the parts, right? Do they have every quality check process, testing process, and team, and procedure, and documentation in place? If they don't have it, they are never going to give you any quality product. All the promise is not going to work, right? They have to prove it. So in that case, we make sure we always introduce quality suppliers, because if you don't have quality suppliers, you're not going to have a quality product. It doesn't matter what you do.
Agreed. Yeah, it's really nerve-wracking. I've had my previous e-commerce business, and it was always, and I did sourcing as a service when I first was in China. It's very important, and it's very challenging.
Yeah. So that's very important, and even that is not enough. And then because good quality is also by design. So if your design is crappy, you have QE, you have QC, it's still not going to work. So then we introduced the system because I have a high school classmates. So he worked for SGS. So I asked him to join us. So he's now working with us as a quality manager. So he built up the system for us to also have which is called MD, like mechanical kind of design, quality design. So make sure when you have the design, makes it easy to assemble. So makes it difficult to have quality problems. Difficult to assemble. Then, because most of the time, people use hands to assemble the product, and then you're going to have quality problem as well. So in Amazon, we had a joke inside of the company. We are a company selling stars. So basically, in Amazon, if you have good rating, good stars, you're going to have a successful business. But if you don't have good rating, then nothing happens.
It's all about the ratings, all about reviews.
Yeah.
This has been really great, Jared. I appreciate your time, and maybe a little bit more on the personal side. I know you work really hard, but when you're not in the office working, what's some of your hobbies, or what do you do for fun?
I used to have a lot of hobbies, but now it's kind of more challenging. I like hiking, and spending time with family and my kids. I have 2 kids, and yeah, if I'm not going to, I always been joking, if I'm not going to do business, I want to start a school. Yeah, I want to build the best private school in Shenzhen. Yeah.
True. Education is so important.
Yeah.
Like X-Men or something, like the super the top, like really quality education.
Because basically, if you have the right mentality, you don't have to be the smartest people. You don't have to be the smartest, but you have to be the most honorable, trustworthy person. So other people, if you need help, people will help you, and if you need credit, you have credit, and that's personality and trust. It's almost the most important thing in the world. Yeah.
And we've talked about your company name. I liked your you drew it for me. I remember on the board. So Valuelink is similar to what you mean with the education or the connecting to the right people. Maybe you want to share the story?
So I have my own philosophy, which I call it relationism. So in my philosophy of relationism, I borrowed the concept from a German philosopher. So in that philosophy, like what is to be in relations. So if you are not in relations, you don't exist. So for example, Jack Ma in China, he's so famous, right? He's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
He's almost like as powerful as an emperor of a small nation, right? Right. But what if we move him into a small island, isolated, so he loses his power? That's most important, is to have good connections. So, but in order to build good relations or to have that kind of influence, what is most important is your value system. So when I name my company Valuelink, so it means by having good value system, you can build good links, and then you backwards build value.
I see.
So it's not like, okay, just by linking the value. It's actually another level of like having a good, what is your value system? What you measure as a higher priority than other things. So what I have been thinking is the world, right? Like when you look back in the human history, like we used to have small groups of tribes, and then we move into states, and we move into nations, and now we have a global village. So the whole human history is actually about how people get more and more connected. More and more people get connected, right? And so what I have been imagining in my mind is like how I could be, because fundamentally, like every person is looking for some sort of eternity. Like you love your children because they carry
legacy.
Some of yourself, some of your legacy, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, you subconsciously are looking for some sort of eternity. So if for myself, what kind of eternity I'm looking for is, I want to kind of maybe become a sparkling light in the human history by sharing, contributing things. Could be to business, could be education, could be something further.
Nice.
So that was eventually, but right now I'm still trying to fulfill my duty as the CEO of Valuelink, but maybe many years from now, a few years from now, when I have more time and
Great.
resources. That's why I was thinking, okay, maybe if I'm not doing business, I want to build up a school, the best school in Shenzhen first.
Great. Yeah, let me know. I'm interested too.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, Jerry. Thanks. How can people best find you or your business online?
I could be reached out on LinkedIn if you search me and send me a connection invitation.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest.
Sure, we can link it.
Yeah, Facebook is blocked here.
Yeah, it's true. LinkedIn works still.
Yeah.
All right. And see you at the summit, at the Cross Border Matchmaker.
Yeah, I would love to, and that's a great event. I'm very honored.
Thank you. Yeah, we're glad to have you there.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.